Folks, we are live. Looks like I did a little bit of a live stream today. It wasn't intentional, but I guess it works just as well. Well, folks, today is 9/11. It is 21 years since the incident happened. I'm calling it the incident. It's probably a very understated way to call it, but I lived through it. And I am grateful for that. My God. But it's 21 years later, and people forget. Now, just forget. Not the heroes, okay? The first responders, listen, we all signed up. We signed in that dotted line. We knew the risk that we were taking. We kind of had an idea in the back of your head that at some point you may be put in a situation where you're going to find out if you're a fight or flight individual and react accordingly. This was my fight or flight 5 years into the job. I'm not flight. But neither is or was Paul. Paul Benedetti was a member of my gaming group in high school and college. Uh, Paul would have been 53 this year. He was 2 years younger than me. And in the years through high school and college, I don't know if Paul ever missed a game session. We'd have guys drop out for 6 months because of some shit going on in their life. Paul, rock steady, honest to God. When the buildings were first hit in 93, Paul was working at the World Trade Center. His company was somewhere in the 70s on one of the floors. I forget which building it was. And Paul would tell the story about walking down 70 flights of stairs with this heavy-set woman who was having trouble walking down the stairs. And people were always walking around them to get out. I thought that was interesting because it also meant that Paul was not walking around her. Paul was walking with her. That's what heroism is, right? He would joke about it and wasn't looking for credit, right? But that's what heroism is. It's the acts that are done because they're the right things to do at the right time. On 9/11, his office was in the 80th floor, in the 80s. He was an office manager for Aon. Paul, after the planes hit, Paul called his wife, left a message, and said, "Hey, it's going to be one of those days. A plane hit the building. Getting out early. Just making sure the office is cleared and secure. Have my scotch ready for me if you can." Okay. You never get out. The only person from that office not to get out was Paul. Why? Because Paul was doing what Paul did. It wasn't fight or flight, right? He knew he was going to fight, and he knew his office had to be cleared, make sure everybody is out, make sure everybody is gone and safe, and then worry about himself. That is what we often forget on a day like today. On Gamers Health last night, I mentioned my story when I was driving down with the 8-1. 8 cops, 1 sergeant, an NYPD van coming from the 401 precinct in the South Bronx, coming down 2nd Avenue in Manhattan, and get to Houston Street. And forgive me, Texans, we call it Houston. And I see directing traffic. Well, first I notice to the side a shopping cart, supermarket shopping cart, and a briefcase. And then I see a man in business attire, full suit, and a homeless man directing traffic to get emergency vehicles through. That's heroism. That's a city, a country, a nation pulling together. We didn't even know the full extent to the horrors at that time, but they stood up and took action. Again, I think all memorials are great. We should remember those that we have lost, and we are losing more people yearly to the attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon. I myself came down with Hodgkin's. I guess losing track now, something like 15 years ago. Congestive heart failure due to my own treatment for Hodgkin's. And these things are because of that attack. So we're going to lose members of our community years, decades later due to what happened at the World Trade Center, what happened at the Pentagon. But we should never lose sight of the heroism that even happens today. When people see an accident and it's a pinned individual, they flip the car over. It's the same heroism. The car could blow up, right? They don't care. They're looking to save a fellow human. And it's a lesson that we can take from events like this, is that we are so much better than those that commit these acts. And we should always respond as people that are better than those that commit these acts. I lost a close personal friend 21 years ago, a fellow gamer. But in its own way, the community lost a hero. Like I said, heroes don't have to have badges or wear uniforms. It's not the point. It's what's inside that defines the person. Paul didn't do it for recognition. Paul didn't do it for anything other than that was the person that he was. So, Paul, you are greatly and sorely missed. And as you can probably see, events like this seem like yesterday and an eternity away at the same time. It's amazing how life works. May we never forget. Please. All right, folks. That was more emotional than I expected. Wow. And I certainly didn't think I had set this up to go live, but obviously I meant to on some level. Meant they couldn't stop this and say, oh God, no, too emotional, time to delete that one. So my subconscious must have been working on that. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tammy. Appreciate it. And hopefully we are back to our normal schedule of mischief and mayhem tomorrow. I know not all of these episodes are going to be happy and humorous. This is certainly not one of them, but it is real life, and for that I do not apologize. Thank you much, folks, and thank you for the support. I will catch you all tomorrow.